want to turn the clock forward and focus on the future. The future is to build a highly valuable company that does great things for consumers and enterprises alike in this converged world of cloud and connectivity. For that you need very motivated people, highly committed people, and we will do whatever we need to do to turn that on. I have a very simple ambition. Tony, I'll share it with everyone, because I shared it with the senior leadership team. I want to leave a legacy for HP, where it's going to be the best company on the planet, bar none. Period.
And being successful is also a good motivator.
That helps.
Right. I want to, like you mentioned, on March 14th, you gave your first public presentation of HP's kind of big strategy. I want to go over some of the points that you made. And the first major point you made is that HP plans to be, quote, the platform for the cloud and connectivity. More specifically noted that HP would push its online application store that will offer programs targeted at both customers and businesses, and that some programs will come from HP, but also you will make available applications from other companies. Can you paint for us a more detailed description of this plan? I mean, how's that going to look like?
Sure. So, as I said in San Francisco, HP believes that there is going to be a continuum of various cloud/connectivity implementations. Some very large customers will do their own thing, will run huge private clouds, and that's cool, we'll help them. Some companies will want to have some hybrid environments, that's great, we'll help them as well. And some companies will probably want to put a lot of the things that they were doing today on the public cloud. And HP will be in the public cloud business. We'll start by providing infrastructure as a service capabilities, and then very rapidly as we move on in time, we'll be providing platform services so that developers can actually develop, test, roll out, invoice, deploy applications on that platform that we will provide. There will be an open marketplace on top of that we will support. We want to create a world where consumers can have their own little cloud. They can store whatever they need to store there. And alongside that, so we're really aiming for the prosumer, they could also store whatever enterprise applications they have access to. As I said in the beginning of this speech, we don't believe we can populate all of that by ourselves. So it's an open invitation to everyone here in this room who builds applications to come talk to us. And I'm sure that we can find a mutually acceptable agreement so that we can provide the cloud services for your applications, and you can leverage the HP distribution capabilities so that we can reach a much bigger market significantly sooner.
So I think you're well aware that one of the recent phenomena in the startup community here in Silicon Valley, first everybody's creating a SaaS service. The second thing is they're starting out on Amazon Cloud, quite frankly. And some of companies are going to be quite large companies and still be on the Amazon cloud. So clearly it sounds like you're angling into that business. And the interesting question is that different people will be buying your computers under that model. So how does one, in fact, I'd like to ask, how many of you have your own data center for your business? Okay, just a few hands, and how many are using Amazon? Yeah.
So not that many.
Not that many, so talk to Leo here. But the thing that I'm kind of trying to process is, and we had your friend Sanjay Poonen of SAP presenting, he's really driving their on-demand business. And in a way, you have to cannibalize your old business to transform it, because
he does.
He does. But how about HP?
Well, we don't have such a large software business,
right?
Unfortunately, but that will change. But yes, Sanjay has a real problem. Right. I know a lot about that particular challenge that he has, but I wish he will be successful. You know,
He wishes you the same.
I have no doubt. He should. I was his mentor for 10 years.
Yeah, he speaks very affectionately of you.
And so do I about him. He's a good guy.
A wonderful person.
And we love you, Sanjay.
Now let's chop off his legs.
No, absolutely not. He's actually a good pal.
Yeah.
And now that we finished the love declaration, the HP is going to, it has the skill, has the capability to probably do the right thing for all types of customers. As I said, I mean, we serve the world's largest customers when it comes to data centers, outsourcing, storage, and networking, and infrastructure, you name it. And some of these people will never want to use anything from a public cloud. They want to build they want to do their own thing, and that's great. We understand that. I think it's important to have a public cloud offering because the reality of the world for many years to come on the enterprise side is going to be a hybrid environment. Some of it will always stay on-premise or in a private cloud, and some of it will move back and forth between the private and the public cloud. We have the capability to manage that whole thing. And because of the connectivity capabilities that we are building, we can help people also move a lot of the things on both sides of the equation into the mobile space, which I think is going to be the consumption device of the future. So if you look at this capability, we're not really cannibalizing. We're actually leveraging the assets that we have, and we're just moving revenue streams from the one side to the other. Now, SaaS is a great thing. I'm all in favor, and I actually like recurring revenues. It's a great model. Once you have reached a certain scale, it's a much better model than in this license maintenance model, which is a challenge, and will be a bigger challenge moving forward.
So yeah, because I was just kind of zoning on the simple, mainly looks at single service companies that are coming up the pike, but you know, obviously the folks that you used to or traditionally sold servers to these young companies are not buying those servers. They're gonna, but you're saying they're gonna turn around and sign up for your cloud service, so that'll even out your revenue?
Tony, I'll give you a few numbers just to show what we're talking about. So the more people will use mobile devices, the more servers and storage and networking capability HP will sell, one way or another. If only because these things consume and produce huge amounts of data. The amount of data that is being produced, unstructured in particular, kind of doubles every 18 months. You have to store that data somewhere, you have to process the data somewhere. That's not bad news for HP either, even though the ASPs are declining. That's okay. Now, some of it will be moving to an HP cloud, some of it will be moving to other cloud providers. That's good. We already provide the infrastructure to 4 of the 5 large cloud service providers. So as long as we do a really good job, and that's the key differentiator, we have to continue to do an outstanding job, produce the best infrastructure, the best integration software, and we'll do some more on that, and we actually move up the value stack in software as well. But as long as we do this, it doesn't really matter.
And I think, you know, what's being acknowledged here is the amount of data that's being uploaded to the cloud is still straight up and down. And it's astronomical. So it's a matter of using your installed base and your customer base to stay ahead of that curve.
Right now, the market is so huge that everyone is kind of struggling to meet demand. Let's talk about this particular challenge 5 years from now. Right now, we are, I mean, if I look into the room, there are many young people, so they probably will not remember, and let me be the grandfather for a second. What we're seeing right now in the IT industry is on steroids what happened 20 years ago in client server. The difference is that 20 or 25 years ago, the impact of IT on the world was tiny. And now it's immense, so it's factor billion or whatever. But during the first 4 or 5 years of the client server era, it was a bit of the Wild West. Everyone was trying to come up with the architecture, the best way to scale it, the best way to distribute it, the best way this, the best way that. And it's not unsimilar to what's happening today. And only a player of the size of HP can actually try to come up with an architectural framework that will help this new world really to become a little bit more stable and more scalable. Because there's still many enterprises out there who don't want to touch this thing. Privacy issues and a whole bunch of other issues. It's still a big issue.
Yeah, complexity works in HP's favor.
And it is a complex world.
Because you're a trusted brand.
And there's something else that we need to bear in mind. Technology moves in layers. People like to talk about waves. So let me give you an example about how waves don't really happen. I don't know if people remember COBOL in this room? Good. Please, I'm not that old.
You're a whippersnapper.
So COBOL, they stopped supporting COBOL in the late 80s. Since that moment in time, up to today, the COBOL code base in the world grew by 5% compounded every year. Then our grandfathers teaching their grandchildren how to program in COBOL, poor people. So just think about that. So no, we don't talk about waves. We should also talk about layer and layer and layer of technology that just superimposes itself one on top of the other. And it is complex. And some of these applications are totally mission critical. And therefore you need someone who can bring it all together and try to keep these things in sync to help people move into the future without breaking the past. And that's for a company like HP a huge opportunity.
So talking about bringing it all together, you acknowledged on March 14th the need to use a great kind of ethic that came out of the founding of Sun Microsystems. Bill Joy came up with the principle of Joy's law: assume innovation will occur elsewhere. So we have a room full of great CEOs in the SaaS and cloud computing area. I think it's fair to say that HP has kind of not really, to this, as far as the streets of Silicon Valley were concerned, kind of didn't have a clear pathway for great companies to become involved with HP. You kind of got into the business, you got out of the business of courting startups. I think under the Herd regime, there was a kind of idea that we're only going to buy companies that move the needle. How are you going to kind of create a way so that these wonderful folks have a clear path to presenting their wares and services to HP and getting connected?
So I am a firm believer in reaching out to the community and having this dialogue. So I'm really happy to be your host here today, and I look forward to being your host for many years to come.
Well, I appreciate that.
And HP wants to have a dialogue with everyone in this room, plus a few others. And there are many ways that we can work together. And by the way, big doesn't always move the needle. Smart moves the needle.
Right.
Okay. The first deal I did when I joined HP was to buy a small company, Apotheker. Doesn't happen to be in Palo Alto, it happens to be in Massachusetts, but even at MIT they have got some smart people. My son, for example.
We're learning that, Leo.
Hello. And so it's a very small, it's a startup, but they've built some extraordinarily cool technology that we already transformed into an appliance, and we'll do some magic around unstructured data. So I'm pushing HP to have an open mind, an open ear, an open dialogue with all of you. Happy to talk, happy to find ways to collaborate, and if we all fall in love, maybe we'll even do a deal.
Great. Well, let's hear it.
Maybe.
So speaking,
I'm a cheap guy.
So speaking of doing deals, I have to ask. There's all sorts of rumors bantering around that you might be interested in acquiring your own employer, SAP, and having Sanjay return to your as your protege.
So let's separate the two.
Sanjay, if you're out there,